My best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. I saw no shadow. I looked around, searched every building and home that I found. I saw no shadow, but felt a glow. The warmth inside me, it kept me afloat. It felt like heaven had found my bones and gave me comfort when I feel alone. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. My best friend to 23. I heard the heavens crying above me. They gained an angel, I lost a friend. I felt like dying again and again. I went through hell, stared at death, but I keep fighting with each living breath. I saw no way out from where I stood. Felt like the fire had burned me for. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go
alone. You're fired. What's going on, people? Welcome back to another live episode. If you recognize that song, it's because it's from Timu, the greatest audio track we've probably ever heard. And unfortunately for you all, Chaz has given us access to sound clips that we can play on the podcast. So if you guys are listening to the podcast at home, sorry for that. We'll try to be calm about it, Paul, right? Like,
wow.
Somewhat reserved, if you will. We won't be. Anyways, welcome back to another live episode of Aggressively Average Anglers podcast. And we've got our buddy Debo here. Debo, what's up, man? How we doing?
Hello, welcome.
No, you're welcome.
Thanks for welcoming me onto your show.
Emotional damage.
You are welcome.
I mean, I'm used to it. Man.
This is gonna be fun.
I'm used to Saturday nights the other way. My bad.
No, it's all good, man. Appreciate it. I mean, I love that we bounce back and forth between each other's shows. Tonight's show is going to be especially fun because as you've described, you're like, hey, I'm not like a pro at this, but we all know you're really good at it. And also, you've got the experience. So we were talking before the show, you've got the hours logged. And when you log those hours, we put time on the water, right? For example, you just get better. It's that experience that really counts. And, Paul and I made all the mistakes right away, as many as we possibly could. And we're going to continue to make mistakes, but we want to learn from, your experience, your mistakes when it comes to making baits. Specifically today, I know last time I think we had you on, we talked a little bit more about the hard baits, right? And this time, the funny story with us is...
Which I still owe, is it Cody? Cody, I don't know if you're watching, I still owe you the custom bait from that live.
Oh, Cody's probably here. Cody,
if you're in here, let me know because I've got a bunch of swim baits here. I will give you one of my a pick of one of these, except for this one. This was the winner here on my show. But if you're in here, you can take full pick of one of these that are a lot more expensive than a crank that I was going to give you. So
there you go. All right, Cody, hit us up in the chat or hit us up on Instagram. We'll get you hooked up, brother. So I think we talked more about that. We didn't really get into soft plastics that much. And, the funny thing is, a long time ago, we talked to you about Do It Molds. We hooked up with them. We got Brendan Chapman on the show. Brendan was like, yo, you got to start doing this. Got us into the starter kit. We immediately put it into storage and never touched it again. And then
no, this is the most ADD
I'm sorry,
skill set arc that you can have. So what happened
sat in
is
your office.
So it sat in my office and it was a to-do list. So it was like a thing that my brain was like, you're gonna do this eventually. And I was like, I'm going to donate the time. But then it got very cold. And I was like, I don't want to do this in the cold. I know this is going to be way harder in the cold. So then we waited out through winter. and now it's start getting warm, and it's like, I really need to do this. And then it was just sitting there staring me in the face. But now what's going to happen is we did it once. We realized it's really not that like challenging, difficult, time consuming. And so now I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So then we did it. It was super fun. And now it's going to become an obsession. 6 to 8 months. And then that's the tipping point to where it goes one of two routes. That it becomes part of my DNA, or it will just like be something that I did really hardcore for about a year and then I'll never do it again.
Wow.
That's the standard ADD arc of like, I love this. I'm obsessed with it. It's gone.
Yeah, exactly. So we dug it out of storage. We finally got into it, 2 weeks ago, Paul?
Yeah.
And now we are obsessed. Now I'm looking to get my own kit here so we can both be cooking at both places. And yeah, we really want to get into it, and we want to talk kind of a Q&A sesh tonight, right?
Cool.
See if we can learn from some mistakes maybe that you've made along the way, because
I
will tell you, I don't know if you saw on our video.
I watched the video. Yep.
You did? You saw where we
course.
jacked
Of
up the
course.
laminate? You saved our laminate,
I was like,
man.
they'll get it. They'll figure it out. Just give it a little twist.
I have
They'll get
faith.
It was a side quest.
See, I was really lucky. I don't know if Arthur Fish Daddy's in here, but he was talking beforehand with me. But I had the guys at the Bake Cave, so I always try to give them props. You know, whenever I get into this, like I never would have got anywhere without them. And so Mr. Marling and Nick Rundle, the Bake Cave, go check those guys out. I mean, they taught me everything. So super good dudes. But yeah, I always have to give thanks to them because they helped cut my learning curve drastically.
I love it. That's awesome. I mean, it seems like a good community, honestly. If you go peruse the comments for like World's Worst Fishing, like Marling, like all those guys, like it seems really positive, which I love to see. And then I joined a bunch of like for the most part, right? Because then I joined a bunch of Facebook groups. It's like 50-50, but there's still like some good knowledge being shared, which is cool, man. I love it. So we're getting into that stuff tonight, y'all. So hopefully you're here to learn about making some baits, and maybe you're making some yourselves, which is really cool. So feel free to obviously comment on that in chat and hang out with us tonight. Other than that, I just want to shout out to sponsors for helping us put on the show. Thanks to Monster Bass supplying us with all these $25 Schmift cards to schmiv away as much as we heckin' want. So we will be doing a $25 gift card tonight. We're still on the table, you guys. I still have this bag over here. The Aggressively Average Anglers box, which has some neat little baits. And if we hit 125 viewers plus, we'll go ahead and we'll schmiv this away tonight too. So a little bonus, if you will, is on the table. Anybody else, Paul? Anything else you want to shout out right now? Oh, I got prizes for the Knucklehead series that I'm pretty stoked about. They just got shipped in. So I do have 4 Expior. Is it Epixor or Expior? Maybe I'm dyslexic right now. But anyways, 4 bait casting reels from Akuma, as well as 4 hats, the red, white, and blue ones, which are super neat. And we've got 4 pairs of shades from Waterland, and we've hopefully we're still working on the Buzzbee stuff. Hopefully we get that at some point. We've obviously got a whole bunch of tackle that we'll throw in the mix too. So if you guys have not gotten the Fishing Chaos app and you have not joined this fun little tournament for the next 4 months, it started. Like our teams are going right now. So Team Flanders, Team Stark, join one of those teams. You got a shot at winning some of these prizes. And if you take first in any of those 4 months, you get to come down and fish Alabama with us, as well as a whole bunch of other YouTubers. And it's going to be a blast. So I would love to have you guys there. If you don't have a kayak, don't worry about it. We're bringing extra kayaks. We will supply you a kayak. I got you. Paul's got you. We got at least 2 sitting sides. We might even have just totally different kayaks at that time. Hopefully still 4. So, we'll bring something down. We will put you in a boat and you will fish with us, and it's going to be awesome. So don't hesitate. Just join a team. We don't care which team. Just have some fun with this with us. And again, 33% of the proceeds go to Autism Anglers. So we're still doing some good with this. Appreciate you guys for considering it and jumping on a team. All right. Spiel done.
All
Paul,
right.
go.
Question of the day. What is the worst bee sting story that you know or know of?
I was thinking of one the other day. No kidding. Like seriously,
The bees are out. I live in a new build neighborhood, so we don't have like mature trees. So my house is like it like an apartment complex for carpenter bees and hornets and wasps. They are loving life out in my backyard. So we got them back there. I really dislike bees in general. And so, yeah, they're on the brain because they're everywhere right now. So
Mhm.
I will tell my story. I'll let everyone else gather themselves. My cousin, we were camping, and
Yeah.
a hornet flew into her Coke can.
No.
She didn't know about it.
She ate it.
Swigs, swallows it. It stings her in the esophagi. She spits up the hornet, sans
Not how you
stinger.
say that.
I know. Sans stinger. And then all of the other wasps like sense the distress of the one that murdered itself, and they all like descend on
Well,
us.
if it's
And then
if it's a wasp, that's the bad thing is they can keep stinging. They're not like a honeybee; they don't lose it.
I
it
thought you said
was
hornet. Is it a hornet or a wasp or a
no, it was a
bee?
wasp, and it was
Oh, okay.
horrific. We all got attacked. We all had to run. It was, and then she had to go to the ER. It was the
Damn.
worst, most ill-fated sip of soda that I'm aware of.
Oh, that's a good one.
God, I hate bees. I love honeybees. They make me so happy. All other brand of bee piss me right off.
Everything else is terrible. I have plenty, so I'll pick the one that randomly popped into mind for me like this week was we got any latchkey kids in chat? Anybody
Yeah.
who, both
Hundo.
parents were working and you just had to stay after school for an extra like 5.5 hours and
Yeah,
hang
yeah,
out?
or you didn't get picked up till like 6 p.m. Eastern, and
I was
you're
like
like,
always last.
I've been here for 3 hours. It's like this
I've been at
alone.
school at this point like 14 hours. Super hate it. Anyways, so I was at Latchkey. I was in probably, I don't know, 4th, 5th grade. And we were all hanging around a tree for like lunchtime, snacky time, whatever that we would do. And one of the girls just started like screaming, like a blood curdling scream. And it just kept going and going. And we were all like, what's happening? It looked like she was being invisibly punched in the spine. So she just kept going, and she's just like screaming and running around in circles. And there were no other bees or anything, any other signs around. And she's just screaming and running in circles. And we're like, we don't know what's happening. And like the latchkey teachers, monitors, I don't know what they call them. They were like, what do we do? And it turns out that a wasp had flown down her shirt, back of her shirt, and was just constantly stinging her. And eventually we figured that out, and she like let it out the bottom of the shirt, and she had like, I don't know, multiple stings. It was awful. But we all just like everybody just froze, and like you can't look away from the train wreck. You're just like, oh God, I can't help you. And your screams are actually hurting my ears if you could stop doing that. So yeah, that randomly, memories just randomly pop in your brain from time to time. Like that happened. It's funny that you brought that up, but yeah. Anyways, that's my story. Debo, what about you?
Yeah, mine is similar. I was a young lad, probably 7, wearing shorts, sitting in the grass,
Like you do.
and
Yep.
and inside the shorts went the yellow jacket, the bumblebee, and as my grandpa said, "Oh, we got you on the doojiggy." So
The doogie?
that's the doojiggy.
The
That's
what?
what my grandpa always called it.
Oh my god.
So
Which
yeah,
pertains to what specifically?
Damn.
Like I'm not associating
it's
the
the
anatomy here.
let's just say instead of the strawberries, it's the shaft.
Okay.
They
be
got
the
you right in the
doojiggy.
old eggplant.
Yeah, right in the old eggplant.
The old eggplant
doojiggy.
emoji.
Brutal.
I'm sure I cried like that girl.
Oh, rightly
Yeah.
so. That's
I
fine.
mean,
That's
exactly.
a very sensitive area.
I would
Woof.
never fault a human for crying from being stung. I'd be like, I get it.
Not in the
I hear ya.
eggplant. No, that sounds
No.
horrible.
No.
There's some bad ones in here. Someone
Woof.
oh, here we go. My brother threw a rock at a wasp nest. The wasp stung me 12 times, one being on my earlobe, and my ears swelled up so bad I couldn't hear that well in my left ear for the day.
Oh my God.
What? Yeah, that sucks. I hate bees so much.
How many people have thrown a rock at a wasp nest? Just show
all
hands
of
in
us.
chat. Right?
What?
What?
No?
The hell?
No,
Didn't your parents
Devo?
teach you? No.
Oh, you used
Our
this
parents
thing.
didn't teach us anything.
The old
obviously.
noggin, huh?
The only thing I can think that we did was like when you get the mud daubers. I don't know if you guys ever had those, but you'd have like the little mud, like round mud nest, and you can see all the holes in it.
Okay.
Looks almost
yeah.
like a revolver. Like
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
so it's those they call them mud daubers, and they make nests out of mud.
Yeah.
And we would always go up to those with the back of the broom and crush them, kill everything in it.
I've
But
done that too.
I would take the dry dirt clods like that are at like a construction site, that you
Yeah.
just see like laying around when it's like super hot. We would grab like fistfuls of those and throw them at them, and it would make like a giant explosion. And it was very, very satisfying. And then you've never
You're
seen
talking about
kids.
like the big like wasp like paper
Yeah,
nest.
like the
Oh.
one that like when it hits those, it's just because everything just disintegrates. They
Yep.
disintegrate each other. It's amazing. Highly recommend. Did you guys
Yeah.
ever do those little? They look like little sticks of dynamite. You light them on fire and they shoot out like smoke. You ever see those?
Smoke bomb?
Like
what
the
are you-
smoke bomb, like the colored smoke
Yeah,
things?
kind of, but they're tiny. They're like this big. They're like little firecrackers.
like a Roman
smoke
candle,
bombs?
but was legal where fireworks were illegal.
Yeah, you could get these everywhere.
Got you.
So we used to put those in anthills. And if you did it just right, like you got the right anthill, you'd put
Yeah.
it in and it would be like all around you, smoke would just start billowing out of the ground.
See 'em coming out the
because
other
like you,
holes.
it was incredible. It was like you were like, I'm a magician. And then you would run, obviously.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Wham Bates just brought up R.I.P. Macaulay Culkin in My Girl. He dies by bee stings.
What?
Yeah, good
he's
call.
just a boy, a little baby boy. Like that is a very depressing children's movie.
John Jay has it. It's like an M80, but it's like the PG version of an M80.
That's
An
what I'm
M80
saying.
actually
It's
could
like-
do some damage, and the Hondos were
Right.
legit. Like that was a bomb. But this was like an M20.
M4.
Yeah, it was like
Anyways.
baby. It was baby.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was
Fun
I'm
times.
happy with that Q of the D. I mean, yeah,
That's
I
good.
think no one put cherry bombs in mailboxes, and if we did,
Charles,
we're not
it's a
talking
federal
about it. That's a
offense, Charles.
federal offense.
You
my
should not
guy.
be saying that on air. You turd.
Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
No,
jam,
straight
right
to
away.
jail. Straight to
Jason,
jail.
I'm on it. Straight to jail. All right, so let's get into debate making. Jeff actually wrote the notes for this part of the show, which is funny. He ended up with like 6 bullet points. I ended up with 1, and I can almost guarantee that my section of the show might be more. It's going to be
Nope.
more aggressive. I'll guarantee it. Jeff's saying no because he knows the answer is yes. All right. Jeff's first thing is like, what are some of the more common mistakes that you see people making when they like first get started? So like, what are like when you were watching our video, you were like, what are they?
Stop that.
You knew
Don't do
what we
that.
were going to do first. Like you were waiting for us to make like X mistakes.
I wasn't really watching it like that. I mean, there were some things that I saw that would help speed it up. Like the first time when you took the pucks out and were like, see, you know, you have these and like you just threw them away. I was like, oh, well, or threw them in a bucket like to use later. So one thing you can do to help.
I told
Go
him
ahead.
not to do that.
Oh.
I was like, we're going to remelt these. And he immediately scraped out the whole cup and
Yeah.
threw them into
He's like,
his
cleanup
like-
is easy. I was like,
I
Yeah.
was
okay.
like, why?
Start
Okay,
again.
fine. Same.
Cool.
But go ahead.
Yeah, so that's one where after you're done, just squirt the colors back in the like you were using the dual injector, just squirt them back into the thing, put them back in the microwave, hit it for like 30 seconds. As you're doing that, you can let everything cool, pull your molds. Once they get hotter, you can't go as fast, but do that. And then when you get like the sprue inside the gun, the injector, I guess, just take those out and put them in a pile. Then when you're all done, you can just put all that back together and melt it over again. So that helps speed it up. Just don't put those sprues, like the big piece inside the injector, back in, because then you have to cut them up and it takes longer for those to redo. So I just keep going, squirt the rest back in, let it go, heat up, squirt, do that until it's all done. Then I just put all my sprues in a pile and you can warm it all up again and re-go through it.
Good call. Good call.
That I was trying to think. There was one other thing that I was like, this would probably help. Something actually that I need to invest in. If you watch World's Worst or like Arthur, Nate, any of those guys, Rundle, they will use like a hot plate or like a flat deal, like to cook pancakes on. You know, one of those like things. And you can get I don't know what heat. It's nothing I've ever done, but you can set your molds on it and get them up to heat. So let's say 190 degrees. I don't know. Because when you shoot plastisol into a cold mold, it pulls toward the walls. That's where you start getting like you had some of the Cincos where they were like had
The
hollow
air bubbles. Yep.
So yeah, they'll pull, and then like I saw you guys doing it, but just making sure you're topping off the sprue after you get done shooting it. Put extra on top there because it'll suck all that plastic down in as it cools and pulls toward the walls. So
I think
that
it's
was
the
a-
action. I think it's like the laminate block. That's actually the coldest thing that's causing the problem because that's actually where
that's where we were
it'll
saw-
get hard in
up.
there first.
Oh
Yeah.
my god! And I
Yeah.
could tell because I could still see like I could just feel I could tell that's where like all the pressure was.
Yeah, the
Um,
first couple pours we did, because we had heard like, fill the sprue. So we're like, oh, we're gonna make sure we do this. The first one Paul did, like it wouldn't. We hadn't figured out that it just stops when you fill the
Yeah, it'll just
mold.
block up
So
in
they're
there.
like, okay, got it. So second pour, I think I did the second one, and then Paul did the third one after that. So when I did it, I was like, oh, I'll fill this sprue. Like I know the thing's full. So I pull out, start trying to fill it back up again. And it was already solid in the laminate block. So yeah, but we did get a lot. I think Wambits is in chat. He had brought it up as well. Heating up the molds, the laminate block, all that stuff. So yeah, that's something that we wanna mess around with. So my
I kind
follow-up
of need
question
to because I even had it at I actually
that's what I was gonna say.
I'm gonna put everything indoors, so it'll be like 75, 70 degrees or whatever, like ambient. And I did it on a warm day, and I even then still had I still had a problem actually.
Yeah, you're just getting so much. I mean, cold aluminum will hold cold. Will hold that cold temperature. It's not going to hold heat.
Right.
Which is actually another good way to tell a bait caster. If you grab a bait caster and you're looking at it in the store and you're not sure, if you take and you can put it to your finger, it's not as good. But if you take a bait caster, the bottom foot of it, and put it up to your lip, you'll look stupid as hell doing it, but you'll know because aluminum will hold that cold, and it'll feel cold to the touch, whereas you feel the side plates, they'll just feel room temperature. They don't feel cold at all. So good way to test a bait caster if you don't know.
Or taste it.
Or taste it.
Yeah, or taste it.
I always look
purely intended.
I always look dumb, so that's
do
not
the gold coin test with it.
Dude, can you imagine just going down the row at Bass Pro Shops and you're just like, well, all right, let me do. All right, nope.
One other thing I did see too, when you guys were saying the plungers were hard to push.
Yeah.
Get some worm oil and just put like a dip on your finger and run it in there, and it will lube up those O-rings, those seals. It makes it go a whole lot easier. And for your baits too. When you put your baits in a plastic bag, if you don't use like the hog sauce or whatever, put just a drip of warm oil in there, and it keeps them from like sticking together, keeps them all loose.
I just bought some of that and some of the
Astasol stabilizer
conditioner, the stabilizer for like remelting. So we figured some stuff out.
Well,
made
also
mistakes, we figured some stuff out.
I want to shout out to everybody who came to the comments, because there was so many Instagram messages, comments. Like, you guys have been super helpful. So shout out to everybody.
Not super snarky.
Nobody was. They were so supportive.
Not like,
I was so worried. I was like,
oh my god, I wasn't worried, but I was just waiting to get roasted because like that's
what I mean.
The first line of the video was like, I'm gonna mess this up. We
were clear.
Well, you were clear at the beginning that you said you were going to make all the mistakes on purpose so other people wouldn't have to. So I would just, after you were done, I would have just said, hey, we did this on purpose. We knew.
You're welcome.
We knew what we were doing.
What not to do.
Yeah.
That's what was I was watching.
Could happen.
Exactly.
Do you guys ever so there's two types of dads in this world. There's a dad who buys something and it has any multi-instructional thing, right? Let's say he buys a play set. Your dad buys a play set. Your dad's one of two types of dads. Your dad's either the dad that pores over the instructions and follows them to the letter, pre-reads everything, gets all the tools out, is prepared, and then executes at a high level. Or your dad is like me. You open the box, you intend on doing that, and then you basically throw the manual away until you realize you've made a gigantic mistake. And then you go back, read only those instructions, and then continue that process until you're complete. And that's what we did. We were like, I'm relatively certain I know 60% of what I need to do this, and I will just fumble my way through this.
I've seen several people on the internet do this, and therefore I am a pseudo expert.
I've watched other people do this thousands of times.
Dude, that's me all day. I will throw away the IKEA instructions, and I'm going for. I just go for it. This office, Chaz brought up my office. This office was a
prime example.
We won't go into that too much. There's a video on the internet.
You can watch that video.
Yeah, so no, I think that was great. The worm oil thing was one I wanted to call out. It did come up in the comments. It was something we were wondering about. I don't think we recorded.
I was like, how can I lube these up? There has to be a way to do it without like damaging or somehow changing like the integrity of the plastic. So I was like, there has to be something.
So that's good. And also, we were reminded about using the vacuumed setup to degas to get those bubbles out, because our buddy B Dooley, who might be in chat right now, sent us the whole vacuum setup. So like we have that, and it's pressure, we got to get it back out of storage
chamber or whatever. Suck all that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it looks like your typical
like a
stainless
pressure
steel
cooker,
pot, whatever.
essentially.
It's got a silicone wrapped lid on it. It's got a little pressure release on it. It's got a hose. It's got the whole get up. We got that. And when he first sent it to me, I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. And then eventually looked it up. But I watched some videos this week on it too. And yeah, we'll definitely get into that. We didn't have too much trouble with that. I think just because everything was kind of new. We're not reusing it. It was stored in the plastic containers instead of like a big open bucket or something like that. But yeah, we're going to encounter that. And if you guys make your own baits, you're going to encounter that. So that was cool. We're going to bring that back up. I'm excited about it. Anyways. All right. What else, man? What are some other like main common mistakes that you see? Maybe you didn't see in our video because we watched enough videos. We know stuff. But that you would expect someone new to this to be making. Like what would you caution people to watch out for? Like, hey, don't do this, or hey, make sure you do this.
I actually have a question though.
Yeah,
So
go for it.
when you are
I thought mine was the
shooting, so like when you are shooting like because so there's different kinds of molds, right? There's the Ned molds, and then there's the old other kinds of molds. Like there's all like the worm molds, right? And you can shoot or like a fluke or something where you can shoot 4, 6, or 8 or whatever it is, right? You can shoot a handful of plastics at one time. But like a more complex craw mold is like a single shot. You can do one. So when you're doing like one, how do you know? Like, do you make so much plastic that you know for consistency's sake, you make one big batch, and then you shoot the one, and then you shoot everything out, and then you shoot everything else into a cup, reheat it, and then you do what you were talking about, where it's like, okay, shoot a craw, everything goes back into a cup, and then you heat it up, pour it back into the injector, pull the craw out, shoot another craw, and then repeat that process. Is that how you would see that process going?
So if I have a single shot mold, like it kind of depends. Like there's some other companies, like Epic Bait Molds is another really good one to check out. They're
Yeah.
super good dudes, Jason, and his wife. I can't remember her name, but the CNC molds, obviously they're more expensive because they're CNC cut by a machine, you know, a drill that's, and they're like completely smooth. I don't know if I have examples of each here, but for anybody, don't mind that. For anybody looking at it, you know, just blind eye, it's honestly kind of hard to tell. Like one will look like, can you tell which one's CNC and which one's not just by looking?
No.
Maybe the left is CNC.
So this is the CNC.
Or your
it's like
right
real
hand.
smooth. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real smooth. It's like every little detail if they have them. Like the regular sandcast, I almost kind of like better because it's this rough kind of matte look that you'll get on them. But I mean, if you're selling baits, a lot of people like this where it's, you know, real perfect looking, real shiny. But yeah, they cost a lot more to make than the sand molds where they're essentially just making a negative of it, pouring the hot aluminum down in that sand mold, and then breaking the sand off, right? So they can, you know, pump out a whole bunch of those compared to cutting one CNC. But you can find different places that might make. Good Lord, I'm a mess here, knocking into everything. You know, you might be able to find some that are making more cavities. But if I have just one like that,
The katana.
like the katana craw, which is a CNC, I don't ever just do one. So I would have like this held up. So this is like a laminate that I made, like a June bug green.
Nice.
But I would have this one with like a couple others all clamped together. And then I would just shoot the katana craw and then shoot like Kasenko or a Ned or whatever.
That's what we
and
did.
then just then just pour a little bit of the rest back. I don't, just for time's sake, I don't have.
Yeah, it's a lot for one.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy 10 of those molds if you wanted, if you were really serious about it. But yeah, I'm
no, but like let's say you wanted
others.
like if you wanted to make 10 craws, that's how you would have to do it, right? It would just take longer.
Yeah. Or you'd
Because
have to buy 10
otherwise
of
they
those
would
molds.
because otherwise they would all be slightly different.
That's right.
Like you wouldn't get this. Like I did a black and red. That's pretty easy to replicate because black is not too hard to replicate. But like if you want like what you had, that you know purple green combo, hard to be really consistent. And when they're all in the same bag, like you would know that they were all different. Like you wouldn't,
unless you write down your recipes, like you said, you had a notebook. But I haven't got into that. I'm just
but
always
even
just
then
testing.
hard. I mean, like even because I'm assuming like by the time you get to a temp, like first of all, counting the drops is not perfect, right? And then your ability to mix, right? Unless you have really small measuring little cups for your glitter, like it's going to be somewhat different. And then even the temperature of the plastic, I'd assume by the time you're all said and done, like it'd be tough to match it exact every single time.
Yeah, and if you overcook it a little bit, I mean, you're going to turn anything that has like a light color is going to turn like that yellowish. If you overcook plastisol, you get that yellow, like I guess, kind of burnt hue to it. That's another thing too, is plastisol is heat stabilized. So it's not going to work until you actually heat it above that point, what, 360 or whatever, if I'm right off the top of my head. It's not going to actually kick in and work until you get it to that. So I know some people have tried to do lower, and once you get it to that initially, it's good. It's it's stable and ready to use. But that's another thing to think of. You can't just do like 200 and be like, okay, it feels good enough. Let's just go get an instant read thermometer like you guys had. It's worth it.
It
Got it.
actually
Yeah,
made a
that's a good
huge
call.
difference. I could tell just by seeing it when it was way too hot or when it was way too cold, but that was within like 40 degrees of
Right.
350. Like
Sure.
it was
Yep.
close-ish, but like no, I will say the instant read thermometer, until the plastisol is clear and you shoot it in the exact same place in the cup every time, and you wait about 5 seconds after you pull it out, you're gonna get a different read. I remember pulling one of the cups out. I had 2 cups. I pulled one of the cups out, shot it. It read like 425, and I was like, "Whoa, way too hot." Shot the other one, and it was like 360 or something, and I shot it right in the middle, and then I went back to the other one, shot it again, and it still was reading like 4 something, and I was like, "No way." I stirred them both up, shot it right in the middle of both of them, and they both read like 350 on the dot, and I was like, it was
Yeah.
hitting that laser was
It'll
hitting
hit that
something
top
else,
layer.
and
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
always make sure I'm
"No, no,
stirring it and kind of
no."
do it to the side.
I
Yeah.
learned that.
And
That
if
was
you're a little
kind
bit
of
too hot, just standing there stirring, it's gonna dissipate
Sure.
that heat anyway, and you'll get right down to
I
even.
did them, but I did them both, and I could tell the other one I was just shooting like the edge of the cup,
Mm.
and at the bottom, like the laser was crooked. It wasn't perfectly straight down, so I was hitting like the corner of the like outside corner of the cup or something, or it wasn't stirred up enough, and it was because it was so thick. It was reading a different portion of the other cup, and I was like, these aren't getting the same reading because one was stirred and one was not. And then
Right.
when I stirred them both and shot them in the same place, same reading. And I was like, I figured something out.
You've said
I'm a
shot or
genius.
you have said shot or shoot about 150 times this episode.
It is a
Paul.
laser. It is a
Pew, pew. I
small
was just
laser
It's laser
thermometer that
plastisol,
has a
so.
trigger.
Right.
So yeah, it is what it is.
We did
When you-
immediately point that laser at each other as soon as we got it out of the package.
It took
so.
like 4 seconds. It's like, ha!
I mean, what are you gonna do, right?
So I do
hang
have.
on.
I
But
do.
if
Oh,
you
go
got
ahead.
another question, hang
I
on,
do.
because
I
I
have so
do want to
many.
just address. We had a few people call out. Westfall called out angling AI is like right in our backyard. They got a 517 area code. I had no idea they were like right here. So they've got and I can't find their exact address. I'm sure I could look it up if I spend some time on it, but we'll check them out. They've got a bunch of molds. Epic Bait molds you brought up as well. It's one that I've been familiar with for a long time. Maybe we'll check them out. Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to dabble in some of these different options. I know, right? They're like right here. I don't know where specifically, but that's like
artificial intelligence.
yeah. Okay, we can just leave it at that. I'm gonna email that dude. We'll check out.
I'm
angling AI.
already.
All right, why
I'm
don't you do it
already-
while we're on the show with Debo? It's not like we're
I'll
dealing
just
with
sit
his
here.
time.
How does a core shot mold
You're so
work?
rude to our guest. All right, Debo, I
How
do
does
have a question while Paul's
how does that
thinking
work?
around. Chartreuse. This is something I need to know about. So chartreuse, the if we take the colorant that Do It has, the whatever they call it, the second iteration that they had, anyways, the X2 or whatever. So we're using that chartreuse, and I don't know if it's because we didn't like mix it well enough because we didn't know that at the
Shake it.
time.
Big
like,
learning.
Yeah, so with that chartreuse though, if you just mix that in with the plastisol, are we expecting to see that come out kind of like a copper truce laminate where you get that bright? So it should
Takes
come out
more.
that way, right?
Yeah, like Paul said, make sure you shake it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's just going to be the liquid on top, and all the colorant's going to be on bottom.
So
Yeah, shake it well. And like, there's different companies that have like
Yeah.
really, really, really concentrated stuff. And
Mhm.
some of the Do It isn't as concentrated, which is fine.
Got it.
So you might have to add more. I always just eye it. Like, I'm never a drop counter. I'm like, one thing
That's
though,
what
like
we're
you
getting
guys
used
said,
to,
you can
yeah.
always add more. You can't take color out.
Yeah.
So when you're not sure on a color, add less than you think, and then you can always go back and add more if you need it.
That was
I-
from 2 videos. One was yours with the red. You were pouring Neds and you were like, well, I did too much red, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one was World's Worst, where he was doing a June bug purple like we were doing. And he was like, you don't want to overdo it. And that's where we learned like the knife trick. So if you're mixing with your
Look at
knife,
light knife,
pull it
yeah.
out a little bit, you can kind of get an idea what that color is going to be. The funny thing about the chartreuse was the first pour we did was supposed to be the June bug chartreuse, black flake on the June bug, and then we had copper and I think purple flake on the chartreuse. The chartreuse came out clear, right? Which is what I was just talking about.
Here, I don't know how well it'll show up, but
it's much better than what we got. So ours was straight up clear, but under that black light, like basically glows. Like it was an insane glow effect to it, which was really cool. So it turned out as a happy accident. Yeah, that's what we were going for, right? So that chartreuse highlighter, I mean, this gets yellowed out a little bit with the webcam, but you guys get the idea. Just think chartreuse, like the kayak that I have, right? Or
if I can,
this is gonna come up weird too. Like this color. Yeah. Like that's what we were going for. We got clear. So yeah, that was, those colorants we did not mix well enough. So that's another thing. Like make sure you guys are shaking everything up. So it's ready to go.
Take it like Paul did that plastisol. I couldn't believe you shook up that plastisol that much.
That was at regular speed. I didn't even speed that up.
That's crazy.
I put you twice in that video, dude. At 400% speed.
I think everyone just assumes that I'm just a little noodle-armed weakling, and I couldn't even shake plastisol.
Oh, I wasn't saying that. I'm
if
just
it
saying
really came down to it,
no,
I don't think you could even shake that
my
bottle.
plastisol shaking
you
is like this.
Freaking weakling.
Yeah.
Okay, good enough.
Everybody said the same thing. You shook it too much, is what they said. Like,
can you shake
Did you
it
have
too
bubble
much?
problems?
No.
You can get bubbles in it. See, but people have said the same thing to me, like when I stir, because I'll stir kind of quick, but I don't chop it. I'm stirring along the inside and stir. I'm not going, I'm not whipping it. I'm just stirring it. And everybody says like, you're going to get bubble problems, but like that's really nothing I've ever had, like just shooting. Now, like open pouring is a different deal. Like when I've done that with the guys over at the bait cave, like that is super tedious and that takes a whole different steady hand to open pour like a swim bait mold or something. But
we might play around with that.
So
at one point.
I
got some of those I could show. Pretty cool.
That was actually one thing I wanted to call out too. Is I noticed when I was doing like the first stir after heating it up a little bit, just to get the clarity right, to make sure that the plastisol was like evenly mixed. There's like that white, that you kind of have to mix in until the whole thing like kind of turns clear. And while I was doing that, I was watching. Yeah, I was watching that sort of non-activated plastisol mix with the hot plastisol, and I noticed like if you're not really intentional about how you're stirring, like I kind of developed like a pattern after my third time doing it, where I would like start in the middle and then work my way to the outside. I started noticing with the glitter and with the plastisol, like if you do go too fast, yes, or you like lift the knife up off the bottom, or you're not like, making like really slow, steady circles, you will start to get some bubbling. But if you don't like work, like if you're not really intentional about hitting every part of the plastic, it does not mix evenly. Even when it's all really warm, like it doesn't mix evenly. Like I would notice there would be like a whole section around the outside of the cup if I wasn't really intentional about getting that spot, and it would just still be not mixed well. And I was surprised, even when it was like hotter than a little bit over 350. Like we had one that was like 370, and I was like, "It's still not mixing like entirely." If you're not really intentional about doing a good job,
which you should be, because you're trying to do a good job.
Do good jobs, mix well,
right? Oh
mix
my
thoroughly.
Gosh. What if Paul just walked away right now? Like if he just literally just left.
I was trying to do a good job. But...
See ya.
Right, well, it's been great having you. We'll see you later.
I quit.
I quit,
Mr. White.
Mr. White. Anyways, all right. Yeah, so you can work on the soundbite. We need to chill on these sound bites. That's what I need to know. Here's the question I had about heating up the molds and the blocks, right? We were debating about it last night a little bit because we did our members only live last night. And this kind of came up towards the end. We were just chatting after the show. Heating plate, space heater, heat gun. How would you do you do this? Like, is that something
I've never actually done it. No.
Oh,
like for my lead stuff, I always just set the lead mold on top of the melting pot, and it gets whatever mold I've got ready and hot,
Sure.
ready to go. I would not say a space heater. I don't know how even and like how much of an issue that would
Oh, I
be.
just meant heating the
Seems
whole room, so
dangerous.
the room was like warm.
Oh, well, still that metal's going to hold the cold, so that metal's not going to draw on that heat. It's still going to
Okay.
hold the cold. So I would say, yeah, you could certainly do a heat gun. I'm sure, just hit the inside and real good and keep
That's not a
alternating.
bad
But
idea, dude.
yeah, like a hot
That
plate
probably
is
was
going
only
to
gonna
get you to a
work with-
certain.
When it frees up your hands. Like a heat gun's great for 2 people because like one person can
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah,
be
sure.
the prepper and the other person can do the other
Yeah,
jobs.
the hot plate
But
is always just going to keep them at
So
that.
hot plate.
Yeah, I would.
it's like a
yeah.
griddle, right? You need like a griddle.
Yeah, like one of those I don't want to say hot plate because I think that's just a little coil, right? Is the hot plate?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm saying, yeah, like one of those griddles, like one of those nonstick pancake griddle type things.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Oh,
lay
dude,
'em
a
out on
camp
there.
stove.
I'm just gonna have an open flame with a cast iron. I think
Flamethrower. Yes.
You know
And then
what?
when you're
Good
done, make some
idea.
cornbread and
Oh,
Dude, just
wow, I'm
a
at
Bic
it.
lighter and some bug spray. We
I'll
got
smoke
this.
my
dude.
ribs, and I'll be making my plastics right next to each other.
I think it would be great. All right.
Well,
Well,
Wham
anyways,
Bates-
we'll mess
Wham
around
Bates-
with it.
Wham Bates has said a lot of people say that the griddle is very helpful.
Mhm.
Wham Bates says if you're not hand pouring, you don't need the griddle. And this is what he said. And I had a
All right.
question about this Wham. And he showed me a picture of it, so I really got a good understanding of it. He was like, "Well, I just dip my block, like my injector block, into hot plastic, the whole thing. And then when I pull it out, I pull the plastic off, and then I shoot it." But I was like, then you got to have a whole 2 cups of hot plastic
Like
on
a whole
deck
nother
to
setup of
submerge
plastic.
that.
I
And I'm
mean,
like,
if you're pouring,
I don't know if I
lot,
love that because I don't want to do that. Like that's
I
the
don't know.
plastic is like the one thing that I'm going to run out of quickly.
So hang
So
on.
that
so
was my
Wham-
only
So
deal
so
with
Wham
that.
Bates probably knows a thing or two about this. He's up in Canada.
He's
the
making his own
snowy-
baits, like
the snowy north, right? So Wham Bates, if you could just IG us privately a message, like just show us a vid of like what you're talking about. I'd love to see.
Well,
just
show me a
in
picture.
practice, or
Yeah.
picture or poster or whatever, man. Like I'd love to see what you're talking about. Just to
instead
get,
of
I gotta
plastisol,
understand.
just use your
My what?
whatever the thing
I'm
is,
sorry,
the
what?
plunger deal. Use the
The
plunger deal and just
doohickey?
get some boiling
Is that what we
water
were calling it?
and then shoot the mold with boiling water first, and then let the boiling water sit in it because it's airtight and it won't go
Mhm.
anywhere and it won't make a mess. I promise. And then just dump it out. That'll be really cool. Try it. Do that on the next video without trying it.
Is this where I explode myself? Is that what's happening?
No, it'll work fine. Just try it.
2 local aggressively average anglers were killed today.
And then sodium, what is it? Na sodium in that boiling
Yeah.
water, right? Isn't it sodium plus water?
Yeah. Did you guys try swallowing the M80s? Did you try that? It won't hurt you. It'll
You
be
just
fine.
put them
That'll
in
be fine.
both ears and light
Yeah.
them up, baby.
It'll be great. You're like a wizard. Smoke's coming out of all your orifices.
You're
I'm
a
kidding.
wizard,
Don't
Harry.
put boiling water in them.
Oh my gosh.
There are a lot of people making caveats that saying don't use water with lots of exclamation points. We're gonna go ahead and make the audio caveat. If you're not watching this live and you're listening to this podcast, do not do what Debo said
Don't do it.
explicitly.
I am
He's-
kidding. Yes,
he was
you'll rust
trying-
your molds. Just
he
put them
was-
in the microwave. It's a lot easier that way to heat them up. That's what I
Okay.
do.
All right. Also, don't do that. If you've not ever been, so I was the person
Oh,
at my work,
God.
and my work mom had to like pull me away and stop me. I was totally gonna microwave like a quesadilla that was wrapped in foil. I was totally
What?
gonna do it. I was just
Yesterday?
mindlessly going through my day. No, this is years
Last
ago.
week.
I was just
I
mindlessly
love
going
it.
through my day,
Years
and I
ago.
threw it in the oven, and she happened to be standing right there, and she literally like I saw like the color drain from her face.
She audibly gasped.
She ripped it out of the oven, and then she very kindly was like, "You're a moron," and I was like,
Oh my God.
"You're right." And then so don't be that guy. Don't do what Debo says.
Yeah,
Don't
no metal
do-
in a microwave.
This
That's
is
a
the show
joke.
that was supposed to be
No
do
metal
what
in a
Debo
microwave.
says.
I'm sorry.
We're
I told
flipping
you.
the
I love
script.
it.
I think it must have been Arthur. I said this is going to be like the blind leading the blind. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I pretend to be a bait maker on YouTube. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh,
Dude,
God.
this is just a fun Q&A session. There's a lot of people in chat too that know a lot of stuff, which is cool. And like we're all contributing to this. And Paul and I, we're here to be your dummies. Like let us go forth and make those mistakes. We're happy to do it. And learn along the way. It's been a blast. Like I could tell
As
you,
long as it's not the microwaving the molds one. I don't want to
Well,
make that
exactly.
mistake.
none of
Yeah,
those
don't do
things.
that.
But
I was
like
kidding. Don't use water and
the-
don't microwave any sort of metals.
talk about the normal mistakes, but I can say this unlocked that nostalgia from Creepy Crawlies as a kid, and also Dr. Dreadful's Candy Lab, if you guys remember those.
100%.
Like, it
I had
took me
creepy
back.
crawlers, though. That was my big present one year.
Yes. Did you guys? All right, I have this question. Did you guys ever, because those kits, those labs, right, were like a fad, huge fad from like 80s to, I don't know, maybe late 90s.
Is that a fad if it's a decade?
I mean, I guess 2 decades is a pretty long lasting fad, but it did disappear. Do you have any more now? No. I mean,
yeah, I do. I have like $1,000 worth of it for making baits in my garage. What are you talking about? You're out of your mind.
Oh, don't be a dork.
Have you guys heard of artificial intelligence?
Artificial. Anyways, that's the adult version, but the kid stuff, it's kind of gone away, right? Like, we don't have creepy crawlies, we don't have dreadful, whatever. Like, I don't know. Maybe
what about the easy bake oven? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know that falls into that
burnt
era.
Themselves on the
Let me
light
get to my
bulb that would
point.
catch fire in it, and I think
they did.
It also burned down
them.
a lot of houses and made the most disgusting brownies you've ever had.
Cody, I already said it. Deal with it. Said,
Anyways, the grown-up easy bake.
I did
did you guys ever had? There was a Wolverine lab where you would make a stretchy Wolverine. It was like a Laztec plastic essentially, and it was like adamantium steel, right? You're pouring it into a mold. They had a plastic mold, and you would fill it with adamantium steel, and you had a stretchy Wolverine at the end. Did you guys ever have that?
Bro, what?
Look it up, people. I had that, and then I also had you could vacuum press a car, so like Hot Wheels, and it had a mold, and you could like vacuum press it, and you could put like your own details on it and make it all neat. You did, Chaz. Yes, see? I'm not crazy. You guys know. If you guys haven't seen that toy, look it up. There was a Wolverine one. Absolutely. It was like one of the cool things that I had as a kid. I don't understand why they didn't have like a kid's version of, you know, obviously you can just get all the gear that we're talking about now, but like maybe an entry level, make your own baits, make your own soft plastics kind of deal. Because when I was a kid, and actually going way, way back, they had model rockets. We had access to rocket engines. I mean, they still do. You go to look up ESTES, is ESTES. You can buy model rockets. You get rocket engines.
Yeah.
As a child, you can go shoot rockets into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
But like, we should have had access. I wanted this as a kid. I want to be able to make fishing lures. That would have been sick. But yeah, I mean, we've had kids send us soft plastics that they've made, which is really cool. I think how old do you think that kid was?
12, 13.
She was like maybe 12. I don't know.
I think her dad was helping her, but yeah.
Okay, take all the credit away from her. That's
well,
real cool.
He mentioned all. No, I mean, she was.
I don't think she really did much. I think Dad.
She was obviously involved.
As in the room.
No, I don't know.
Stole all her thunder. Dude.
Look. Also mentioning that someone who's 12 should be shooting 350-degree plastic by themselves is probably not great either.
As I was thinking about the rockets, I'm like, what kids just went on the internet or whatever and bought rockets by themselves and went and shot them?
Well, so
we're able to go set them off, is what I'm saying. Like, how close were we to death?
I'm pretty sure they say on there like must have adult supervision.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, everything. I mean, the creepy crawlies had to have adult supervision because you had to heat up the plastic.
Well, I mean, the Easy Bake Oven is responsible for many lost homes. I mean,
and lives.
Things happen.
R.I.P.
I mean, lawn darts. Yeah.
You remember lawn darts?
I still think so. Like, it's really funny that you guys are talking about these toys. So, like,
Roman candle wars.
We were pretty. We didn't have. Somebody else said on here was like Tight 88 or whoever it was. He was like, "Those sound like rich kid toys." I was like, "Yes, dude, 100%." Like, we didn't have that stuff. You know, we had CO2 cartridges that you could go buy, and you would pop them open, shoot them off, which was fun. And then once they emptied out, like down the street, like a quarter mile, you'd go pick them up. You would take a pocket knife, you would hollow out the opening, and then you would go and buy really coarse gunpowder, grind that down into really fine gunpowder, pour it like a quarter full, and that was like a rocket / grenade. And dude, we used to bury those in the ground and just like, dude, it was the absolute best.
We need a disclaimer on this.
So remember this about making baits? Let's make rockets instead.
So like
Let's-
there are no rules, and yeah, it is what it is.
There are a
I
lot
do
of
have a
rules
question about
and
making
laws.
bacon. I still have
Anyways,
making questions. So reheating old plastics.
Yep.
It sounds so easy. Let me
It
walk you
is.
through what I assume the process is, and then you tell me where I may have missed. So you take I would assume you have to separate your
Stop.
plastics.
No.
Oh,
wrong.
really? I made an
Wrong.
assumption. Ah,
Yeah,
see.
you assumed. You know what happens when you assume.
You mess up.
I don't
So
think
I'm
that's
guessing
exactly it,
that
but
you
yeah.
have to separate your plastics by like at least light and dark, so like somewhat similar colors. Like I wouldn't get like neon pink and black and put those together. So somewhat categorize them, and then you cut them up into smallish pieces, like I'll say fingernail size pieces, and
Small as you
then
can. Yeah, the smaller the better. They'll melt a lot easier, quicker for you.
yep, and then you fill up a cup to whatever, a little more than whatever you're trying to hit ounces wise. Add your stabilizer, heat it up, get it to the temperature of liquid that you want. This is where I have a question. Do you just shoot that plastic, or do you try and add something to it, color, glitter, whatever? Is there really anything that you could do, or is it just it is what it is?
Sure.
And then
Yeah,
you just make your plastic.
yeah, it's going to depend on the colors you have. So the first thing I always do is cut it up as small as I can, and then add in some regular plastisol. I never go regular old baits. I always put in some new fresh, like white, plastisol in there with it, and then the stabilizer. I don't know how many times. That's a good question. I just know after every new cup I do, I add stabilizer. So like if I have an old puck, even if it's just like an old puck that I had been using before and it's cool, I cut that all down, add the new stuff, and add stabilizer. So anytime I do a new cup, I just always add some stabilizer. And I think it's like the 2-cup ones. So
Yeah.
I do like a cup and a half-ish, whatever the middle. It's not the real small ones. I want to say 2-cup or whatever that size is.
1 cup is like small, 2 cup is like the
The
standard.
standard
I think it's the
standard
2-cup
size.
is what I always use. Yeah.
Yeah.
And use like 3/4 of the way full. So it's like a cup and a half. Plastisol and everything. That'll make a bunch for you. But yeah, just heat it up. And then I would do it, like you said, the lighter colors first, because you can always make a lighter color darker. You can't make a dark color light unless you add a ton of plastisol. So if you had just a little bit of one dark color, you could put that in there and then add a bunch of plastisol to it, and that plastisol is going to dilute that down a lot.
So that was something we learned on the fly, because we remember, Paul, we remelted our chartreuse and purples for that laminate, and that second laminate didn't come out lighter. We are like, oh,
Because
what
I
if we
did.
just-
Well, no, it's because
we'll
I
just
added
add
the
some-
plastic.
we'll
It was
dilute
basically
it.
desaturated.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was definitely a worse color. We said it in the video. It came out worse. We get it. Now we kind of understand that. I got to call this out because chat's popping off on this thing. Wham baits, never use stabilizer. Brown bait code, no need for stabilizer. Who else said it? Elizabeth, no need for stabilizer. So I don't know.
Really?
Chat, would you like to
Yeah, how
elaborate?
come?
I'm very curious as to why.
I thought the stabilizer was because when you're reheating the plastics, they tend to like more quickly become like yellowed or like discolored when you're reheating them. That was what
That's
I
what
thought
I've
the
been worried
stabilizer was
about.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just integrity. Like you'd lose integrity if you didn't use
Oh.
the stabilizer to make sure it's going to stay working at the same temperature, at the same heat, turned on at the same. But I don't know. That's
Yeah,
just
I don't
what
know.
was told, so.
Chat enlighten us. Also, shout outs to Stephen Elmer, who just caught a 3-pounder while listening to this. Bam.
Nice. Congrats,
Nice,
dude.
buddy.
More than me.
What? You're going fishing this weekend. Calm down. We haven't fished in like 2 weeks. Well, I did last weekend because I'm cooler than Paul. But Paul hasn't fished in like 2 weeks. So he's going out this weekend.
So I'll ask you guys. I saw you playing with the Senko, the Ned. I think I heard Paul's, which was the Katana Craw. But excluding that one, what are like 2 molds that you've seen somewhere that you're like, I would really like to make those? Like, I think I would use that a lot. Because like you guys said on the video, like everybody I think gets into it thinking they're going to save a bunch of money. And maybe if you use like 17,000 paddle tails near a guide and like people are burning through them, maybe. But like to me, the thing is you can make whatever you want, whatever color, whenever you need it. And that's the real like fun part of it. Like you can have a color that nobody else can have, and if you needed it, you run out, you just go home, make some more, and go back out the other day. But what's a mold that you guys are like, oh, that would be a really fun one. I want to mess with those.
So there's a lot. There's a lot.
No, I have one.
Hang on. I'm gonna let you go on your mold first, but real quick, I just wanted to throw out like the reason we originally wanted to do that was what you're saying, Deba. Like we wanted custom colors. We wanted to have fun with it, get creative with it. We never intended to like save money with it or even sell the things at all. So people have already, thank you guys for like humoring us, but we've had messages where people are like, I need some of those. Where are they for sale? I'm like, bro, we're not doing that. I'm not going to do that.
$100
but
for these 8. It's the only ones that exist.
Yeah.
yeah, we'll do schmivaways if we ever get good at this thing. But yeah, mostly just for fun. Yeah, like the glow in the dark ones that I totally messed up. But yeah, just having fun, getting creative. But anyways, Paul, like what is, because I know you've been heavily looking into, I'm excited to go check out artificial intelligence and see, they're in Jackson. That's what somebody said in chat. So like I'm gonna roll up and knock on that door. I might even have recognized their building before. I'm excited to go check it out. But anyways, who said it? Westfall? Yeah. So yeah, we're definitely. All right. So real quick, Paul, what's the mold? Like, just pick one.
Yeah, so mine's really simple. It's
I knew it.
probably 3-inch paddle tail.
Yeah.
It's just something that I use all the time. It's super flexible. It's something that I really enjoy, like getting different versions of, and I think I would enjoy making because you can shoot a couple of these. The molds generally have multiple cavities. The laminates of them are cool. The swirls of them are cool. Like every version of a paddle tail to me is cool and interesting, and I use them a lot because I use them as trailers. I use them on their own. And this is the 3.25. This is probably the most useful one for me because it's great for smallmouth, it's great for largemouth, it's great for multi-species. So I would like to have a 2.5. I would like to have a 3.5 or a 3.25. Like those are the ones that I would use the most. And every time I shot one, I'd be like, yeah, I want to fish this. And it's something that
100%.
I fish all the time. So this one for me was kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I love it. And yeah, John Jay, those are the Rage Tail. Rage Swimmers.
Rage Swimmers. So
thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I didn't realize that these go all the way down to 2.5. I got
Dude,
some 2.5s
so
of this, and I was
great.
like, dude, these are freaking cool. And yeah, now I want to be able to make my
I
own.
could
Because
see
like
using
I think
those
all
a
these are cool.
ton.
They're all cool.
2.5 definitely on BFS. I would be excited about, or anything really, but like that's what I'd look for.
But that's what the 2.5 is money for.
So for me, we just got the Fluke mold as well as the Katana Craw. So I was excited about the Fluke. So barring that, since we already have it, I think the other one that I'd want to look into would be Drop Shot. Like I'd love like a 3.
What? Sorry.
What?
You're
Yeah.
talking about something fun.
Drop Shot. I do.
I don't see the
I would like
value
to have it. You don't see the what?
I don't see the value as much.
Why?
A lot of drop shot plastics are just really like simplistic. Like it's more about the silhouette than the actual colors.
I mean, somewhat, I would agree with you, but yeah, like I think that you could have some fun with it. But fine, whatever. I'll throw it away. I already got my Fluke, you guys. So
the Fluke. So I poured the Flukes.
Stupid idea.
Yeah, whatever.
I poured the Flukes.
Jerks.
They turned out really good. I was really upset because when I made them, I did like a really dark purple and a white. I wanted to do a white on the bottom, and I wanted purple flake and green flake, and I wanted green flake and silver flake in the purple. So like the green would be through everything, and then the silver and the white would be flip flopped. I just wanted to try it. It was like more complex. I had to figure out like which way to shoot the mold to get the white to be on the right side, the mold like on the bottom.
Oh,
which was actually kind of
that
tough.
Was one other thing I was going to say too is for that to make it a lot easier. I don't have a mold, but like when you put
my mold.
Yeah, when you put the mold together, I just took a Sharpie and wrote top and bottom, so I didn't even have to think about it. I just put my thing on, and so I know which side's my top.
So simple, it's genius. I love
That's what I did. I took a piece of tape basically and was like, "This is the top," and like for that one. But I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing this for all these from now on," because when you have to also remember your colors like in the mold. Like if you don't know which one's which, like you can kind of look when they're still hot, but you don't want to be like, which one colors are these? Like
which one?
Pour the glasses all in your face.
Now I'm creepy crawly.
Yeah, now I'm creepily dead. And so you gotta like really remember all that stuff. And like it is a little bit of a. I was nervous when I shot it, but I was so mad because the purple came out really good, and the white color came out really good, but the white part of the block like cooled off way too fast, and like none of the white came out, so the whole thing was purple. The purple was dope, but I was like so mad because I nailed the colors, I nailed the flake, I nailed everything else, but the mold was just too cold and it froze up on me, and I was like,
Old mold.
I was so sad, man, because like I like did everything right except for that.
Except for everything.
Well, it's like right at the end, the most important part. It was like, and you're done, and I was like,
It's all right. We'll
I
get
was
it. The flukes are
so
going to be
mad.
sweet. Like a fluke is definitely one of my new favorite baits
Yeah,
to fish all year round. So I'm excited
I
about
think the
that.
Senkos are good too, just because you can burn through so many of those. Like if you have a
Yeah.
trailer, like a ripper, like that's the do it mold, the caffeine or rage swimmer, like that you had. They have the ripper,
that's
like
what I'm
3.5
gonna.
inch
That's what I'm
ripper.
gonna
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you can have one of those on and catch 2, 3, 4, 5 fish, on the back of a swim jig. But man, like a stick bait, man, you can burn through those pretty quick. So
100%.
that is a good one, I think, to have.
Only I would agree with you 100%, and that's what we ended up getting. Like the Ned was that for us. Like we got the Neds, which was, I mean, honestly, if you could only pick one, like that'd be probably the one I would pick, maybe, or the paddle tail. The problem with Senko is, and I kind of feel bad for saying this, but like you don't want to know the number of times of the year that I grab a Senko and fish it.
Don't say it. You're going to be in trouble. You're going to angler jail.
It's like 4 times.
Never.
Like
That's all right.
I just don't like, and it's
No,
not that it
that's
doesn't
okay.
work. It's not that it doesn't work. Like I know that it works. Like I've caught a bunch of them before, but like the number of times
But
I
you
go and
catch
grab,
fish, you
like,
don't
a
ever have to
Senko.
throw a Senko. Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
Jesus Christ, it's Jason
All
Bourne.
right.
I
So-
mean, I think this calls for a
Wow.
but like I just don't fish them that much. And mostly it's because a lot of the stuff we make is like we're trying something new. It's not like a hey, go fish video. Like I just don't get to do that nearly enough. And like when I'm at my cottage, sometimes I do, but we have so many smallmouth that I end up drop shotting way more because that's what's going to catch the smallmouth.
Stop it.
Sorry, we're back.
Get some help.
Jaws is back in charge.
All right. So,
All right. So the question from chat,
yeah.
it actually has to deal with the Senkos. How much salt would you use when you make your Senkos?
It's a good question.
I was curious about this.
Oh, yeah. So that's something I've heard, like the salt can ruin the injectors and stuff. I actually got some of the sinking additive. Well, it's salt on the aluminum once it gets, wet with the plastic or whatever.
Yeah.
I got some of the sinking additive stuff and that came broke because whoever threw it on my doorstep broke like the whole round thing of it. So I actually haven't got to shoot sinking plastics, but to mix that up. That's another good point to bring up when you get the plastisol. There might be companies that make some like automatically sinking plastisol. I don't know. I know they make different levels, like super flimsy and then a little bit harder and like firm.
Yep.
There might be somebody that makes like a sinking like plastisol ready to go. I don't know, but for the most part, you either have to add salt or some sort of like sinking additive. And I've never done that. So just remember that when you make those, like if you make a Senko, it's not going to sink unless you have a sinking additive in it. So you have to go weighted Senko, which like a weighted wacky rig is one of my favorite ways to do it. I'd throw that more than a Texas rigged weightless Senko anyway. So
yeah, I was pretty much on like, I'm not going to mess with this, but I saw the sinking additives and I was like, okay, like if I were to do it, I think I might mess with that. But
Are you talking about a weight? Because like I'm cool just pouring regular plastics until I fucking figure this out.
And that's where I was at with it. I was like, let's just not even mess with this.
Let's start with like levels 1 through 5. That could be level 6.
Right. I heard about the horror stories with salt and I was like, nah, I'm not.
I want to try. The next thing I want to try once I figure out this heating thing, because it is a problem for me right now. Like whether I need to keep it in my pocket or something, if that's like enough, I don't know, like for now. But until I figure out a way to heat the injecting block, it is a problem for me. So once I get that figured out, and I can consistently pour like a laminate, one thing I really want to do is I want to pour paddle tail or the fluke and do it where it's like the front half is, or the tail is one color and then the body's the other color. Like I want to do that so badly just to say that I've done it once.
Yeah, that's a super easy one to do. And like when you guys were talking about the chartreuse, some people just say, "Oh, you can dip the tail in chartreuse." Well,
I know
with like anything, no, but with any color that you do, like if you want to get pure chartreuse, if you're dipping anything that has color into chartreuse, you're not going to get pure chartreuse.
Right.
So that's one easy way to do it is just shoot a whole bunch of baits. Like I think this is the El Gusano worm, I think, which means worm in Spanish. But you shoot like, I think it's
the
got
El
like
worm.
Yeah, the El wormy worm. It's got like 6 in the cavity, so you just shoot 6 in chartreuse, cut the tails off, throw the bodies back in the pile to remelt again,
Right.
put these tails back in the mold,
Yep.
and
And
then
then
just
reshoot.
reshoot your color over it. Yeah, and it's a
Yeah,
really
dude,
cool way to get a pure tail color.
I'm
on your
stoked to
bait.
try that out.
I want to do it with the katana cross so bad. Somebody
I
Oh,
was like,
sent
what are
us.
you doing?
Like these
Craw.
are the
I got it now.
the Bushi
It's
beetles.
craw.
I did just the flappy parts in blue, cut them off, put them in there. Got like a
Yep.
green
Dude,
punk
that's
and
freaking
blue.
awesome. I
I
want to do that
love
so
that.
bad. That's cool as hell. You know what I want to do too with that one now for just no reason other than it's possible? I want all the appendages to be a different color. Why not?
You could do that.
I
Every
know.
single one. It would make a rainbow flipping
Dude,
bug.
how dope would that be for like no reason? Every other like on either side, it's like the first two are pink and then green and then like what
Yeah.
dude, that would be cool. I don't care what anybody says.
See, now you're getting into the cool part of why you want to do it. Yeah. Like I just want to
wanna
make
do
cool
it.
stuff that nobody
That's
has,
it,
you know?
man.
I just want to do it
It was
super
an
bad.
absolute blast. I love it. All right. So yeah, I got a couple shout outs. I think Pima63 way earlier on, just showing up 24 months in the Snorlax crew. So represent, brother. Really appreciate you. And we got
Yes.
Army Outdoors 88N, aka Ralph, is here, and he says, "Sup, fellas? Sorry, I'm a little late. Duty calls. Spring spawn is popping off in Kentucky." It says us popping. Threw me off there. Congrats again on the new high number of followers. Oh, yeah, thank you. We hit 33K, you guys. I forgot. Like I
Congrats,
posted about that
boys.
yesterday, I think. So that was neat. Neat. Thanks, friends. You helped us get here. That's really cool. But appreciate you, Ralph. 25 months on the on the Snorlax crew. So that is awesome. Not even going to mention that in chat that I just saw. All right. So yeah, I think definitely a lot of like good learning lessons. And I think one of the cool things about this that makes it so fun is like, you know, Debo, you mentioned like you can get creative, you can do whatever you want, you can have all these different colors. That's super great, right? And also at the same time, like when you're experimenting on this baits, then you end up using them a lot more. So I'm like utilizing these Neds that we get in different ways. So I was Texas rigging it on BFS. Texas rigging the Ned. It's an absolute blast. Really great time. Caught a ton of fish on it. And I feel like I'm going to experiment more with it because I'm not buying a $9 bag of Senkos from Yamamoto. Like I feel pretty good about what I've got made, right? So I think that's cool. There's a lot of experimentation to it, a lot of creativity to it. If you guys aren't making your own baits, and I know a lot of people in chat right now are, but if you're not, it's something I would definitely consider. There is a little bit of a buy-in, but I mean,
I
don't let
wanted
it
to
scare you.
so I actually wanted to hit that
Mhm.
right now. Someone asked the question. He's like, "Hey, maybe I missed this, but you know, like, you know, what was your initial investment?" Um,
Yeah.
our initial investment, actually, most of the stuff that was like difficult to get a hold, like all the stuff from Do It, they actually sent us their starter kit. So
Mhm.
that was really nice of them. I'm very appreciative of it. I think those are like $200 or $250. So that's like one or two molds, the nicer ones. That
Mhm.
is the dual injector we actually got. That was the laminate block. That was a couple of colors, a little bit of flake, and then the smaller kit of plastisol. So enough to all the difficult things that you can't just like go buy at, you know, on Amazon quickly. Like it came with all that stuff. So there's that. After that, you got to buy a microwave. So you call that $100, right? For a 1,000-watt microwave, right? The cheapest one you can find.
Or your buddy can make a
Or
mistake
your
and
buddy
buy
messes
an
up and
extra
sends
one.
you one. Then you need, and then you
That's
Or
my
need,
garage
scenario.
sale. Go to a garage sale and get
sure,
Garage sales the move.
the
Yep.
cheapest microwave you can get a hold of, right? That's hopefully 1,000 watts. Then you're gonna want, excuse me. My wife's saying I'm too loud. I don't care, Haley. I love you. And then everyone, my window's open, so she thinks I mean, whatever. I don't care. No, this is where I live. And so you also have like the safety equipment. So you got to have like gloves, some knives, you got to have a little bit of Pyrex, you got to have some like shop rags or whatever. I guess you could use paper
Yep.
towel. You're going to need some sort of thermometer. And then you're going to need some sort of face mask, right? If you're shooting in a place where it's not like super open. So
Ventilated.
you've got all that stuff. Honestly, I'd say like to get everything that we bought, you're probably in like the $700 range. If you wanted to buy kind of the bare minimum, I'm just kind of guessing and rounding up. And that's for a couple of molds. So we bought, I mean, I have 4 molds now, 4 or 5 molds. Those are not
Yep.
cheap, right?
Well,
If
if
you
get the
wanted
CNC, yeah.
if you wanted like one mold, a single injector, the
Mhm.
basics, I think for 350 you could probably get everything done. And if you're really wanted to be stingy and you wanted to just minimize everything, you might be able to get below that pretty easily. But I think like 250 is
think
like
you
the
could.
minimum.
Yeah,
250
250-ish.
250 is probably the minimum
Shoot
ish.
a couple basic colors. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So I just want to let. I mean, they kind of asked like, well, what did we get in for? We're like, I went out and got some other molds and some other stuff. Like, so you can very easily spend $700 without really trying that hard when it
Oh
comes
yeah.
to molds.
Well, it's like going
Um,
to Bass Pro Shops. You can easily spend
Yeah.
$700. Of course,
Fi-
you go on the Do It website. You can spend
Yeah.
700 to $1,000.
500 bucks gets you tons of options,
Mhm.
2 or 3 molds, and a lot of the good stuff and some of the upgrades. 300 bucks, you're in. You can make some plastics.
And again, that's on CNC molds. So Brennan Brown Baco brings up silicone molds. There's different options out there. Dude, I was on Amazon and I was just seeing what's around. There's a lot of injectors on Amazon that are questionable. They look real funky, but they have dual injectors. They got laminate options, right? And then they also had a bunch of molds. They had the Bandito bug from Guggen and a couple other ones. Yeah, it was really interesting that I'm finding this on Amazon, right? They had the Kraken Craw, Bandito bug, like specifically Guggen products I was finding. Maybe a Rage Tail or something here or there. But yeah, like name brand, the name was on it and everything. I was like, is this like okay? Can they have this on here? Like, but it's a single pour Bandito bug, like just one, right?
Huh.
Interesting stuff out there.
So I have another question.
Yeah.
Scents.
Oh yeah, I mentioned
My
it 'cause
understanding-
you poured the garlic in there.
No, my
hard.
understanding of scents though
Mhm.
is that you can add them while you're mixing in your glitter and everything else if it's not a water based. Is that the case? And should that be the case, or should you just add it to the bag after you're done?
Always only added it to the bag. I've never cooked scent. I've always just add it when I'm done. I'm not huge on scent. Like,
We ruined everything, Paul.
yeah, I don't
No.
know.
That's why it smelled so potent, though.
It was potent as
It was
shit.
potent.
Oh my god.
I love it. I don't know, chat. What do you think? Anybody else? Different opinions? Add
And what
scent
about,
at the
like-
end with worm oil? So like Debo's saying. So if Fish Daddy and Debo are both saying it, then I'm on board. Maybe next time we won't cook it.
I don't know. No one's ever told me no.
How many people have you asked? You
asked
just got
if
Maybe
you-
into
that's
this.
maybe that's your next thing. You add like
Yeah.
parsley and oregano and cinnamon into the
Ooh,
stuff and cook
No,
it in there
an
and see it.
actual
Nutmeg.
actual shrimp.
Yeah. Put a shrimp in the middle of it.
wait.
Shoot the plastis all
Frozen
around
shrimp?
it. Dude, that's what you
Just
can
like
do. You can cut up little
shrimp
pieces
platter.
of shrimp.
I can literally
Yeah,
do
you
whatever I
just-
want. You can't
can
stop
Drop
me.
them in there.
Anything. There are no rules in
I'm gonna add
Paul's world.
fettuccine Alfredo.
Oh my
Okay,
God,
you
I
can't
love
stop
it.
me.
The
You can't tell
Alfredo
me that
Ned.
wouldn't help a little bit.
Or
The
an even better
Alfredo
video,
Ned.
catch fish on fettuccine Alfredo.
Oh my
Uh,
God. Do you want to be
You want to be at
viral?
100,000? Cut off your friend's arm and use that for bait.
Caught the pond monster using my friend's arm.
Yes, I won't be
Did it
fishing with Paul
work?
anytime soon. Did it work?
Did it work?
But did he die from bleeding out? I don't
What did
know.
I catch?
Oh my gosh. You know what, guys? Here's the funny thing. We had a mid-show segment. It was juicy.
On that
one.
note,
We have zero time for that. So instead, I think what we need to get into, what? What?
Oh,
Make
you,
it
get
you
into-
just said we were completely out of that time. I'm just like,
we
yeah, it's
can't
been
get.
going. I didn't realize
Yeah, we ain't
were
got
at
time for
8:30 already.
that.
You're telling me we can't get into fishingscamguide.com?
Are we going to be brief about it?
Yeah.
I do want Debo's opinion on this. All right,
What
so
is
Oh,
well,
it's a very interesting.
let
It's a
me
very interesting
digress.
topic. This was my only contribution to tonight's show.
Fish scam guide.
This is what you were saying. Like my part of the show is way better than your part of the show. So this morning, it was a funny story. My wife comes up from her workout. She's like, "Hey, I found this TikTok. You should watch it." I watch it, and it's this dude who just so everyone knows, and he's pretending this isn't the truth. He's playing up. If you guys have been on TikTok before and you've seen these videos where people are talking about side hustles, his entire TikTok is like side hustle something, right? So homeboy's preaching the side hustle choir, which is all of it is nonsense. It's like buying vending machines and drop shipping garbage and stuff like that. It's not a good career path. You can make some bucks doing it. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a a longevity thing. Okay. So please just avoid those things. They're mostly scams. This guy's selling his coaching to people from his website, which I think is something like subscriptionboxguy.com. Right. So he's pretending that's not his site, even though his face is on the site throughout the video as he scrolls through and shows you stuff. Like his face is right there. And you're like, okay, it's your site. I get it. But the guy was talking about, I'm going to help you start a subscription box, or basically side hustle logic. It's like, it's so easy. Anybody could do this. You could start a subscription box like Monster Bass, like Mystery Tackle Box, like 6 Cents Fishing, like whatever. Right. So just
You're
picture
not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Paul, we're never going to get to the end of the show if you keep doing that. All right. And Slow Rolling Thunder it is. Nope, not doing that, dude. We can move on to Slow Rolling Thunder. Did we hit 125? Because we can do an extra schmiv away. All right, you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna block him. Like I'm gonna kick him out. We can do a schmiv away instead of our story, I guess. Never mind. That's fine.
Yeah, don't be like that. We want to hear what subscription box are you going to do now? Because you got this guy's coaching.
All right, so that was me. Listen,
Stop it.
Paul,
Get some help.
you need some help.
I'm not
carry
Chaz.
on. No, it's me. I'm doing it to you.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
Chaz.
so this dude, he's basically saying like, oh, it's super easy to start a subscription box. You could, pick a hobby. And he goes, my hobby is fishing. So here's what I did. And he's like, I ordered a whole bunch of baits in bulk from Alibaba. And then I get them in. He shows the baits in a box. It's just all super basic, garbagey stuff you can get from Alibaba. And he's like, then I load them up in a box and I sell them, right? So he's just taking stuff from Alibaba, marking it up massively, putting it into a box, calling it a subscription, like a fishing subscription box, and then selling it to people. And then he showed his numbers, and he's got like 170 people, victims, that's what I like to think of them as, buying this subscription. And he's just sending these repurposed garbage baits from Alibaba. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. Just I'm going to throw 6 baits in here, right? And we've all seen some subscription boxes pop up that do exactly that. And that's part of the problem. But this guy is promoting to other people to, hey, just go start your own sub box and do this thing. So I was like, I really hate that this is a thing that's happening. So I posted a rant about it this morning on TikTok. If you want to go out, or this afternoon on TikTok, you can watch it. Just my thoughts on it and the problems with it. He immediately jumped in my comments and started being like defending himself.
Really?
He at some point,
he got way overheated. You could tell we struck a nerve.
Yeah, he was like, why do you hate the world? Why are you so angry? You could have just partnered up with me and sold your baits through me. I was like, I don't sell baits. Like, I'm just telling you, this is trash.
Have you seen the baits I make? Top tier.
I wouldn't sell these.
But
premium taste, bro.
Let's
premium
be honest, though. He all he's doing is explaining easy ways to scam people, and he just happened to mention like our little corner of the world, and we got a little saucy. We got a little saucy about him taking advantage of people that like hang out with us, and he got really mad.
Yeah, it's so go read the comments. You can see this guy if you want to. It's on TikTok. I'm not posting it on Instagram. I'm not posting it again because I don't like to deal with that stuff. It fired me up this morning because he's basically promoting this to impressionable, like younger people on TikTok who are like, I need a side hustle. I need cash. I want to make $10,000 a month. And they're going to end up doing bad things that they're not really recognizing maybe at the time that are bad. And like, I just hate to see that. And we're just flooding the market with these garbage baits. So I'd rather see, companies like Mule Fishing in a box, like somebody who actually matters. The funny thing was in the comments, he started saying, well, I do work with reputable US companies. And I'm like, name one. And then he didn't respond to that. And then he kept like arguing with me though. And I was finally like, whatever, dude, like I'm fine with this. And I asked him for, hey, what are the companies you're working with in the US? Prove your point, like prove to me that you're doing something good and not something terrible, shameful, and scammy. And he didn't respond anymore. So, that's because he's not. It's a very interesting thing. What'd you say, Chaz? You got it. Thanks. Chaz got a hockey stick. He's going to attack this guy. That wasn't the point. The point was just like, this is bad. This is a bad thing that he's doing. But, you can do whatever you want. Like Paul said, no rules, right? No laws, no rules. It's Paul's life.
Absolute garbage piece of garbage crap guy. All right. I would like to go on a rampage, but I'm gonna remove myself from the situation because we hit 130 people on the show, which means
Do we do
we
it?
get to do.
That's what you guys get if you hit that number. Like, don't you want to hit that number all the time now?
Debo, that song goes on for like 2.5 minutes. I robbed it from the internet because it was on Temu. That song was on like the hype video with like gas fog and fireworks for an all metal
looking
reel.
I had never even heard of this place until Rand Dizzle on a whim went out and ordered like 4 bait casters. He's like, we can do this
Moron.
and see what they're like. I'm like, what
Was one of them all silver, the master caster?
I have no idea. Well, he said one of them looks like a Shimano or something, and he's like, we're gonna try them. I'm like, never even heard of this. I'm like, are you sure they're even gonna send you anything? He's like, oh no, it's a new like Amazon or something. I'm
It's
like,
dog crap. But
So
we stumbled, like Jeff was like, I want to buy this reel. And I was like, whatever, open the video. And then we started watching the video. I was like, unmute it. Just unmute it. We click the unmute button and all you heard was
and it bangs really hard.
it is the slappiest tune that I've ever heard in my life. It's
we
incredible.
played the whole commercial for that probably 40 times conservatively during our shopping trip, and we only included it in the video 3 or 4 times. But I did film an unbox of my Temu order, so I did get.
oh, you
my
guys
Temu
got
stuff.
some too? Is this the new thing? All the cool kids are doing it. Oh my god, Randy!
It was so bad, dude. It's Jeff bought himself a fishing rod holster.
The lightsaber holster.
It looks just like a lightsaber. And then we did get the fake G-Crack, what are they called?
Which were the best
bellows
baits of the bunch.
They're actually pretty dope. The colors look actually really
so we got
good.
a couple fake bellows.
Everything else was dog crap. We did find some little duck top waters, which they're
not top waters, bro.
Oh,
they're not even.
But this is what you should expect from a $4 box that you pay $80 for.
Nothing does what you think it does. Everything.
What about the
those commercials you watch as a kid when it's like they're playing with the action figures? Like, oh, those are so awesome. You get them.
Then you get it. You're like,
it's like it's half a boot from a GI Joe, and that's like, oh, you actually. Yeah.
This doesn't even move.
Yeah, 100%. But they show them doing backflips on their own with a remote control that you control with your iris. Yeah. But it's.
Dude, RC cars were the worst of that because they would always. Do you remember the RC car that had the wheels that were bigger than the body, so it could go up walls and like roll down the stairs? Yeah, I broke that in a week. I have instantaneously.
This is going to be our second question, so we're going to get to our first.
Let's get into it. We got some winners and stuff.
So what's the first one? It's going to be the $25 gift card.
Yes, let's do the $25 Schmift card. You said it wrong. For monsterbass.com.
Oh, we already
did you already draw it?
David, okay. Sure. David Williams, we're doing it. David Williams, you are the winner of the $25 gift Schmift card.
Slow down, Chaz. Don't draw the next
Read the instructions on the screen, David, and do what Chaz tells you to do. I guess we just already did it. So keep chatting, though. We have not the $25 gift card, but Jeff, we got the AAA box.
Which includes...
So, Debo, I don't know if you saw this video, but last month we were like, they did like the best of, and we were like, these are not the best of. We're doing our version of the best of. So we went on their site and spent $40, which we figured was like equivalent value. And we just picked our best of. So these are those baits.
I like
it was actually super fun.
Kind of similar once, yeah.
It was pretty fun.
I think
we got the KVD Sexy Dog in black. This is the junior, the smaller size.
It's such a good bait.
We got Debo's favorite thing ever, which is trick shots, drop shot baits from Z-Man.
If you like to sleep your way through fishing, it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, if you like to do the most horrible, painstaking, awful way to fish. Yeah, sounds cool, bro. Good story.
We got the what is this thing called again?
The only thing that makes drop shot fishing better is if you fish it really light on a BFS setup. Then you're super cool.
We're doing that pretty
everyone
soon.
Hates you. I love it.
What is that?
So we got the rodent.
Now the rodent would have been the missile baits. But they were out of those.
The baby D-bomb was number
the baby
one.
D-bomb, they were out of those.
I still got one here. Whoop,
I got a couple bags still.
And then
after that, it would have been the BFE in Tilapia Magic.
I haven't thrown that one yet. You like that
one? The BFE is so sick. And
I don't have any of those yet.
That's my favorite tilapia. That's my favorite Tilapia Magic. The Tilapia Magic in that card is so
Yeah.
good. But they didn't have that, so then we went with the rodent.
So it was our third choice, but it's still good. And then
still
we got the sling blades, which were supposed to be 3/8 of an ounce. It ended up being a 1/4 ounce. I don't know how that happened. That's
Still
what
a
we
banger
intended to
though.
buy.
It's a good.
Run on your
it's a good-
BFS reel. It'd be fun.
Yeah, we know Tight 88 hates BFS. It's fine. I already told him 1,000 times. You don't have to like it. That's a good one. What were the other ones that we had? Remember, Paul? Like, who was saying them before? Was it Debo? Was it somebody? No,
Big
Ethan.
freaking scam is what it stands for.
That's what it was.
Yeah. I think that came up either you said it in chat or Ethan said it on that when we had Ethan on. I'm here for it. You guys can hate on it if you want. I don't care. We've already said
I joke about it. I mean, if you have fun doing it, like
I mean, exactly.
that's what's cool about fishing is 2 + 2 never equals 4 in fishing. Like I would rather have somebody peel my fingernails off than fish a drop shot, but I'll throw a wacky rig or like a Ned rig all day. And there's
But that's
people
only-
like if you throw either of those, you're a sissy. You're an
Listen,
idiot.
I'm not here to yuck anybody else's yum. You guys can love
That's
or
what I
hate
told
whatever you
everybody.
want.
I made that reel yesterday about like, do you buy the expensive one or the cheap one? I'm like, there's no wrong answers. Just buy whatever makes you
There
happy.
isn't.
Just be gone.
We do have a hook to pair up with the drop shot. So you got the spear points, which funny enough came in this month's box too. And then we got the flatty daddy, sorry, from 13 Fishing. So nice little flat-sided, kind of rounded, square bill, but solid square bill nonetheless. So that was our best of box versus last month's kind of like, I don't know, greatest hits or whatever they wanted to call it, box that came out. So there you go. That's what we're
start
schmidding away
chatting
right now.
Keep chatting. That's the schmiv away. While we're doing that, while we're gonna Chaz is not gonna roll it yet. While we're doing that,
Chaz, don't
we are
do
going
it.
to do. This came out of our members only live. We said we were going to use this as today's slow rolling thunder. We're going to be doing a power ranking of the specialty pizzas, the popular specialty pizzas. We're going to rank these top to bottom. Your options are in no particular order. Hawaiian. I'm calling it. This is my favorite.
Is that Canadian bacon pineapple?
Or ham and pineapple. Yeah. And usually some veggie. It's usually either a roasted red pepper or a green pepper. The 3 meat treat, which still kills me, the name of that. That would be your sausage, pepperoni,
Like a meat lovers.
and your ham. Yep, a meat lovers. Yep. And then you've got the buffalo chicken, which is buffalo chicken. Most often has a ranch component. You've got barbecue chicken, and then you've got a veggie. So let's power rank those 5: Hawaiian, 3 meat treat, buffalo, barbecue, and veggie.
Easy.
Go, Debo, if you're ready.
Yeah, Debo,
chicken's
you're
up top.
Which one? There's barbecue and buffalo.
Tied. Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
If you
One
want
and
a
two,
spicy treat or you want a sweet treat, I mean, you flip the coin.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're going Hawaiian next because pineapple absolutely belongs
underrated.
on pizza. Then the meat lovers and all veggie can just kind of go to whatever on the bottom.
Unranked.
Could be 5,
overrated.
could be 38.
400.
Yeah. Overrated.
I'm with you.
Okay. I love that power ranking. That is a solid power ranking.
It's all right. There's a huge error, but I see it.
Wrong, but okay. So
Jeff,
mine would be barbecue chicken up top. I'm gonna go 3 meat treat right after that, then buffalo chicken, then Hawaiian, then veggie. And the only reason for that is I mean, buffalo's fine. I prefer the barbecue. I like that like sweet treat, as Debo is coining it. Big fan, especially on a deep dish. So I'm a big fan of the specifically Jets barbecue chicken is the choice. I do not want it from anywhere else. That is my particular choice.
See, I think
everything else can be a regular pizza. I don't care where you get it from, but like that's the jam. Meat pizza is always a win. Like all meat, great. Super happy guy with that. Buffalo's fine. Hawaiian's fine. Like I'm not a super huge fan of it, and veggie I could just throw in the trash. That would be fine. So there's mine.
Daniel Shade. I muted Jeff after he said deep dish. Paul, hit me up when he stops.
See, I don't care. Like again, like you guys can yuck yums all you want. I don't care. I'm gonna be nomming on my barbecue chicken pizza from Jets, and there is no Jets right by me. I will travel for that. I will.
You're gonna have to because I have the only sit down Jets on planet Earth next to my house.
Yeah, I know you do. So what? You hate Jets? You hate deep dish?
No, I like Jets. I like deep
Okay.
dish.
Okay. So what's the problem?
Do you know the problem? I'll give you my power ranking. You'll find the
No.
problem. Number one.
If you rank barbecue below veggie, this show
He's
is
gonna say
over.
veggies is number one, isn't it?
Okay,
this
no,
is
it's not.
over.
This
if
is
he
not
says
that. This is not that type
I do
of
like
show. Okay,
Supreme
guys.
though, but like
This
all
channel
Supreme
veggies,
is good,
over.
but that's
with no
different.
meat.
That's totally
Yeah,
different.
that's okay. Yes, that's what I was gonna
That's
make sure.
the
we,
Mama's Classic
Okay.
is like a good pizza.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I just gave the veggie for somebody. You never know. You never know. I leave it.
like
I'm
if
leaving
you're
it out there
gluten
for
intolerant
you're
or
an insane
MSG
person.
free,
You know,
or you
maybe
don't
you
eat
like
wheat,
sugar and water, and that's all you eat, and you're actually an alien from Men in
and
Black.
you
I don't
prefer
know.
Jello on your pizza.
I don't know. Who said
Detroit style is
Detroit?
amazing.
Detroit style is so good. Anyways,
Yeah.
I will do my power ranking.
Okay, let's
This
hear
is this is regardless of style. It doesn't matter. It could be thin crust, gluten free, triple extra thick. It doesn't matter. Number one actually for me is going to be the buffalo chicken. It's very very good. I like it with the ranch. It's a mess, but it's the best mess. And then I just
Super
add
good.
more hot sauce. I just want all of the heat. So I like that. Number two is going to be the 3-meat treat. That's a classic. You're never having a bad day with the 3-meat treat. After that, I'm actually going Hawaiian. I actually buy pineapple as part of my professional job, and I actually like pineapple. I think it's really good, and I think the pineapple ham combo is legit. And actually, if you've not tried pineapple, ham, and jalapeno, you are missing out. That is a wild ride. I highly recommend it. After that is buffalo chicken. And that honestly, it could be number 4, it could be number 400, and then right behind it would be veggie. I think buffalo is disgusting on pizza. I respect that you guys like
you
it. That's
keep
great for
saying
you.
the wrong
But,
thing.
You mean
oh, I'm
barbecue?
sorry, barbecue.
You
Yes,
keep
barbecue
mixing them
is
up.
disgusting. Barbecue is nasty. Like that.
Because
I just don't.
your brain won't let you say
But you know
barbecue
what's
is nasty
crazy?
because
It's
you
only
keep
when it's-
making
He
mistakes.
can't even keep his lies straight
It's
now.
only. It's
we
only
know
when
barbecue's
straight.
number one.
it's only when it's hot. If you gave me like a buffalo chicken pizza, I could dip that in barbecue sauce and I would actually not hate it. But if you once you heat up the barbecue the barbecue, it's not. I don't think it's
So
good.
do you not like it because it's like all gelatinousy barbecue like all over it? So
Yeah,
here,
and
let me
Oh, yeah.
let me do it this way: is
Yeah.
you have a real thin crust.
Uh-huh.
There's no barbecue sauce on it. It's a dry rub, like burnt ends,
I'm
with
in.
like a little bit
I'm
of a.
in.
Okay, I get it.
Delicious.
What if you
I get
just
it.
brush it
100%.
on at the end?
That it's
like
the
at the end
it's
of
like
where
the
you
the,
do just
the
like a
sticky,
tiny bit on it.
sweet-
Yeah.
I don't like
yeah.
the really thicky,
Because then it gets like all
tacky, sweet- it's not
floppy
good.
and like there's too.
I think
Sometimes they
you've
can
had it
overdo the
wrong,
sauce.
man.
crunchy thin crust, anything dipped in barbecue sauce, 100%. I'm in.
I agree.
I would the Hawaiian, my favorite Hawaiian pizza with the
Yeah.
jalapeno dipped in barbecue sauce. That would slap. That would absolutely slap. But if you put the sauce on, you heat it up, and then you give it to me, I will just shove it right back at you.
Yeah, I think you're eating oversauce pizza. like, because I've had
I
very
eat Jets.
bad-
I have the only sit-down Jets on planet Earth next to my
They
house.
do it wrong for you, man. I don't know, but like
Bro,
I've
no,
had
these
bad
people
bar-
are
I've
professionals.
had
Also,
just
just
for
so you
you.
know, I
Specifically,
work
they're
in
like,
pizza.
Paul's coming in.
Hey, that barbecue sauce liar's coming in here. Lube it up,
Hammer
baby.
that
I have had-
barbecue sauce for this loser.
I'm also the buyer of Domino's barbecue
We
sauce.
know you're your professional thing, but my point is, I've had barbecue pizzas that are terrible because they're oversauced, and then like Debo
Oh,
said, I mean, you get the flimsy crust.
Thin
If they
on
did
a
it right,
super
I kind of
hard
like the
crust is
brush on
my
at the
favorite.
end.
I'm with
That's
it.
a move. That's a move.
No, I'm with it. I'm
I
with
would
that.
eat
I'm with that. I'm on board. It would go
Then
to.
we're
It
in
would go above.
agreement.
It would be tied with Hawaiian.
And on the
Fair.
crust, instead, it would be like a garlic butter, and then you put
Yes.
your barbecue meat on it with just a little brush of sauce.
Pocket sauce all over the crust. 100%.
Man.
Yeah. We found
what-
Middle Earth. We're all on
We
this
found
same
Middle
Earth
Earth.
now. We're here. All right. AAA
Fastest way
giveaway
to end
box
a friendship.
winner. AAA winner is Chaws. Roll 'em.
Now roll them.
Make something? Will you make something?
Ro-
Like
ro-
make. Did you just look at the? All right, Nathan Johnson, you're the alleged winner. Are you here? All right, we'll find out. While we're waiting to find out, I have a question I came up with. Yeah,
Yep.
I came up with one. All right, this spurred a question. What were the best remote control cars of all time? I have 2, and it's a tie. Do you remember the one that had like it flipped over? It had like 4 big tires, and it was like sitting in the
Literally
middle of the
mentioned this
tires.
5 minutes ago. Yes.
So that car.
That's what I was
slapped.
talking about.
It was
Yeah.
incredible. It was so good. But do you remember the one that was like had expandable wheels when it sped up and it could do like 40 miles an hour? It was like a drag race car. Do you remember
No.
that?
No.
Oh, I saved up for like 6 months to buy that thing.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the few times where it was better than the commercial. And the commercial was very rad. This was better than the commercial.
Was it Crossfire rad though?
No, nothing is. But
Crossfire.
oh my god. Yeah,
Caught up in the crossfire.
Yeah, you can't shoot your friend into space. It wasn't that cool, but it was
That's
the
bullshit.
commercial for this thing was badass. And I
Yeah.
remember getting the car and I was so excited and I used my own cash, ripped the thing open, charged it up, immediately used it,
Yeah.
and I did it on my street and it was so fast I thought I was gonna lose it. I thought I was gonna lose the car. Like
What
it was
if you
gone. It
did?
was
Just gonna keep going.
6
It
months.
was
He saves
inc-
up and then
was
he runs it
incredible.
into a ditch.
It's just gone. It's in the leaves somewhere. I won't see it till spring.
The
Dude,
truck just smashes.
it was
Oh,
unreal.
man.
That was one of the coolest purchases I've probably ever made. So justifying. It was so
Okay.
rad. The wheels,
you-
like they would start off like this big and they would expand like while it would
I
go.
do know
It
that
was
one. I do know
so
that.
fast. It was so rad.
Yeah, I think I had a friend somewhere had that one. I didn't have that one, but I do remember that one. The one I also remember is the Sidewinder, which like the middle of the body would rotate. So
Yes.
you like literally, I mean, similar to the one with the big wheels that overtook the body, so you couldn't
Yeah.
flip over. But
Yeah.
this one, you couldn't like get hung up in a corner or on a wall or like
It
anything.
was
Like,
very cool. It
it
didn't
would just
work as
rotate
good.
its way out.
The flip car worked really good.
Like,
Like
was too many moving parts, dude. Once you add that many moving parts at a specific price,
the gyro.
point,
I think it was called the gyro. Was it called the gyro?
I thought it was called the Sidewinder. I don't
It
know.
might
Maybe
have
I'm
been.
crazy.
But dude, the flip car was rad, and I like the flip car because it had multiple color schemes. So I
Yeah.
had one, and my brother got a different one, and we would battle. It was so fun.
The battles were great. We used to chase each other. Like somebody would have the controller
Yes,
and you just chase each
yes,
other and you're just like trying not to get
yes.
hit by the RC.
God.
Limping Fisherman also brought up like the motorcycle remote controls, like the Evil Knievel one. Those were dope. Because you
Really?
you start sending those off of ramps. I mean, it's just you got a dude on a motorcycle. But they
But
had
did
some
it
that
ever
would,
land?
yeah. Like they were well balanced, or they might even have like mini little training
Did
wheels
they
on it. Like don't,
survive?
shh, don't do it. Did they survive?
I'm
No,
very
nothing.
skeptical.
Nothing
I'm very
survived
skeptical.
childhood. Do you
I'm
remember the ones
very
that
skeptical.
they would eject the rider though? Like it had a collision. You would run into a wall and it'd be like and just shoot the rider off. Those were the bomb.
Oh,
That was
man.
fun. All right. Well, we talked a little bit about making baits tonight. So shout outs to Debo's Fishing for coming on. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate
Yes.
you.
Try to help. I mean, sorry,
I think you
I
helped
have-
a
I
lot.
have
were
notes.
shoddy and
I have notes.
We've got some notes. I think everybody learned a lot and we all shared some knowledge, especially chat really played along as well. Did we got emails from both our Schmiveaway Schwinners? All right. Nice job, team. Way to go.
Firestorm. That's what it was.
What was Firestorm?
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Tire Storm.
expandable-
That was the name of the car.
Firestorm.
It says rarest RC
All right,
car of
team.
the
What do we
90s?
call this car? I don't know. The tires expand. It's kind of cool. Let's call it Tire Storm.
Bro,
love it.
I'm on board. Sign
I'm
me
watching the
up.
commercial. It's friggin' awesome still.
Paul is currently in his own world watching a commercial from the 90s. I love it.
I was
All
about to
right.
say.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Wow.
And his name is John C.
All right. Can we outro the show? Like, can we leave? Like, are you good? Show me your hands. Hey, show me your hands.
Was it Ricochet?
I don't know. We'll look it up after the show. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you're not watching Debo's Fishing, obviously we've told you 1,000 times. We'll tell you 1,000 more times. Make sure you're following Debo everywhere that he's going right now.
Ricochet.
And Debo, are you updating the site at all lately? Like, you got any new baits that you're dropping? Like anything you want to shout out
I
right
don't know
now?
if the site's going to continue. I don't know if that's going to be a
Okay.
thing that keeps going for Debo. So, yeah, I
Fair
don't know. I'm
enough.
not sure what's going to happen with Debo's Fishing and all that. That's kind of been, I don't know. It's a good question.
Debo's Fishing
So-
Lures or Debo's Fishing in general?
Lures.
All of it, everything,
Oh,
lures,
no.
YouTube, everything. So I don't know.
Whoa.
Don't you
knows?
don't you dare Don't you
Well, I'm
drop that bad juju on this
quitting yet.
episode,
I'm
sir.
quitting.
I need this.
Okay,
This
good.
is for me now.
Yeah,
I
no,
need
not
you.
quitting. I'm just saying I don't know what direction we're gonna go. Like I haven't been able
Okay.
to fish as much. Work has been kicking me between the eyeballs. Like
Sure.
So you're gonna quit Debo's not fishing.
I don't know what that
Shut
means.
up. God dang it.
Shut up, bitch!
Jeez.
I come
Guys
up with a
are
great idea where
hardcore.
Debo quits his day job and fishes all day, and that's what I get.
Oh,
I think you guys
gosh,
need
I
to
wish.
go
wish.
reevaluate yourselves. You go take a look at your keyboards
Oh
and
my
you think about what you just
God.
did.
I didn't know that one was so rowdy. I didn't hear you played that one earlier.
Yeah, it's a little.
When did that one
intense.
get added
I think
to
we
the
all
sound
have
roster?
Emotional damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born with it.
Wow. Right to jail.
All right. Anyways, we've had fun with this episode. We need to knock it off. So yeah, I mean, Debo, anything you want to call out that you got coming up though? Like anything you want to talk about?
Nothing. Nope. Just old me here in Iowa with a dirty, scroungy basement that I can't get cleaned up, and pretty much same story with my life. So
ADD
you know, here we
person's
are.
nightmare.
Yeah, I'm ADHD as it gets, and like I start with a pile, and then I'm like, oh hey, did I clean that fish tank? And I'm like
Yep.
over there, and then I'm like, oh crap,
Yep.
where did I leave my pop? And I'm like, yeah. So
Always. I feel you. All right. Well, definitely go follow him. You guys, you definitely got to do that. And join us for our journey with making baits. I mean, we got a lot more things to learn, a lot more things to try. I'm excited about it. I think I learned a lot from this episode and it answered a lot of our questions. So I'm stoked about it. Hopefully you guys are too. And come back next Wednesday. We've got some guests that we're trying to line up right now. So I'm just not going to drop any names. We'll let you know when they happen. Otherwise, we got some fun topics to talk about coming up as well. It's gonna be awesome. All right. Anyways, and the soundboards will be removed after this episode. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday. Okay, bye. Chopsticks out. Okay.
Took a swing at a wrecking ball and I prayed for my downfall, and I found a way to reconcile, 'cause in my heart it's not worthwhile. It's a bloody battlefield where some go down, others heal. In the end it's all the same. All you can do is play the game. Oh, do we say goodbye? Refuse to question why. I'm sad to say I'm sorry, so lie. Pretend that you're okay. Swear that you will stay. Keep trying.